Well, Razorback fans, it's a question I know I've been asked. I'm sure you've been asked. And I'm sure that it's one that's going to continue to be asked. Were Razorback fans wrong about John Calipari? Well, let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. For the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. If you win your first bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. You're getting closer and closer to the weekend, which I know everybody's looking forward to. Always, at this point in time at least. But man, yeah, yesterday was quite the whirlwind, I would say. I know that it was really ramped up to a whole nother level of animosity and things thrown towards the Razorback basketball program and John Calipari. I certainly got my fair share of interesting tweets and DMs, death threats and whatnot. It's just a part of the job, I guess. So, yeah, a lot of people spiking the ball and really flexing on Razorback fans and Cal of the whole thing of being like, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Well, it's something that people have begun to really pick up on. I saw a few articles here yesterday, and national articles, that is, asking the question about Cal. Is he cooked? Is he over the top? Is he over the hill? Is there any bouncing back for him? Anything like that. But it also took it another way of, this is the same old Cal. I don't know why anyone expected him to be different and everything like that. It's incredible. It's really incredible. But hey, when you're in a very interesting program with a very interesting coach, you're going to have a lot of interest in successes as well as failures. But the thing is that everybody who has been coming at Razorback fans in general, and I'm in this same group, saying, see, we tried to tell you were wrong about Cal. You were wrong about Cal. And so I'm asking you, were you? Were Razorback fans? Was I? Were we all wrong about John Calipari? Well, one, it depends on what you were saying and what you were saying that would be right. But generally speaking, no. No, Razorback fans, you're not wrong about John Calipari. I'm not wrong about John Calipari. Well, at least not yet. Here's the thing. There's still a lot of season to be played and everything like that. It doesn't look good. I'm not predicting anything going to happen as far as this team getting better or improving or getting to the NCAA tournament or anything like that. I even think that big-time recruit that a week ago you felt really good about him committing to Arkansas, the big center guy, I feel like I've kind of... I don't know if he's actually going to be coming to Arkansas or not. But the point is that you just got some things not going your way right now. But John Calipari is not going anywhere. This isn't just a one-year thing for him. It's not that if he misses the NCAA tournament that he's fired this year, that Arkansas's firing him. That's not happening, folks. It's not at all what's happening. John Calipari is going to be here, at least in my mind, at minimum 3 years. He signed a 5-year deal. He wanted this to kind of be the end of it, which I think it will be. That's the deal. And so even as bad as this year is going, it may end up, he's not getting fired. He's not leaving unless something just crazy happens. This is where he's at. So in that particular case, you have time and you have opportunities to get things going in a better way. This is a bad year. Could end up being one of those bad years. But when Cal was at Kentucky, he had some bad years. No one wants to remember him, but he did. He went to the NIT in his 4th year. NIT and lost in the first round to Robert Morris, which is kind of crazy. They went 21-12 and went 12-6 overall in the conference and went to the NIT. But it also shows you how bad the SEC was when going 12-6 couldn't even get you into the tournament. But they went to the NIT, lost in the first round of that. And then in the 2020-2021 year, there was the COVID year, but they went 9-16, 8-9 in conference play. Now that's it. That's it. Those are the only years that Cal really did not have a good team. Every other year, you had a great team, an elite team. Made it to a lot of tournaments, won some games. He's had that success. So I'm over here, and I'm seeing what's going on with Arkansas, and I'm seeing the issues that they're having, and I'm seeing what's being said about them. And then I'm taking it into the perspective of, well, what if this is just one of those years? Those bad years that Cal has. Because again, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what Kentucky fans say. Nobody thought it would be this bad. At all. Nobody did. You can say that you did, but you didn't. So it could be chalked up to just one of those years. That's not acceptable. It should not be happening. And frankly, you as a Razorback fan should be irate and very suspect about the possibility of this working out with John Calipari. For sure. 100%. However, there's going to be another year, maybe another 2 years of Cal being here at Arkansas. Maybe he gets it going. Maybe he puts it together. Maybe he has one of those teams that he's had recently here at Kentucky. Maybe they have the right pieces in place, the right culture, the right type of players, all of that. Just talent level wise, it doesn't look like they're slowing down any. They're still bringing in elite level talent. Transfer portal, I don't think is going to be a problem. They got all the NIL that they want to spend. So the talent's going to be there. It's just a matter of will the rest of it be. Now, I'm not doing this to try to pump sunshine everyone's fanny. I'm not trying to get everyone to just think that, there's always next year. I'm not trying to do that. I'm talking about from the big picture of everybody feeling like Razorback fans, you were dead wrong about Cal. There's zero chance that he can be successful at Arkansas. It doesn't matter. This what's going on this year is going to be the way it's going to be the rest of the time and the rest of the years that he's here at Arkansas. Maybe. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what happens. But there, at this point in time, is just not a whole lot of evidence to back that up. Yet. Keep saying all that. Yet. And also, here's the other thing, too. And this is for you Kentucky fans. Just remember, folks. You got a good thing going on with Mark Pope right now. Decent team. I mean, had some weird losses. Look pretty good at times, though. But that's the thing about the NCAA tournament when you get there, isn't it? It's always crazy and weird. Like, what if Mark Pope lost in the first round? I mean, he's not won an NCAA tournament game ever before in his life. So what if he loses in the first round? I mean, that's pretty much going to be like another Cal season, is what it looks like to me. So maybe before you begin spiking the ball, flexing on all these Razorback fans and coming after me the way you are, just remember that, hey, when the tournament comes around, you still could be in the same position. But maybe you're not. But maybe you should wait and see until that happens. Because college basketball is wild right now. None of it makes sense. It's hard to keep up with. But the Razorbacks are the ones that are suffering the most from it. So to sum it all up, Razorback fans, were you wrong about Cal? Was I wrong about Cal? No, not yet. We could be, but not yet. It sucks right now, though, and there's no excuse for it. We can at least make that very, very clear. We're going to talk about something that is not that big of a deal with Razorback football, but it is kind of a big deal. It has to do with the kicking game. Just bear with me on it and stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans, from the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. This FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep every game so exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this NFL season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. This kind of got lost in all of the transition of the craziness with basketball and whatnot, but around the time of Arkansas and LSU about to play the other night, Arkansas football got some news where they had a player transfer in, a kicker, and his name's Blake Ford. Now, some of you may be like, wait a minute, why do I know that name? Why do I know that name, Blake Ford? Well, here's why. He used to be at Arkansas. He transferred to North Texas for one season. He kicked off 77 times and had 46 touchbacks as a sophomore this past year, but he did not kick any field goals. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. He committed to the Razorbacks as a preferred walk-on over offers from Texas and Indiana, and a scholarship offer from Fort Hays, Kansas as a senior, and Arlington, Texas, Lamar. This is all according to hogsports.com. He had a long field goal of 48 yards as a senior. He played in the 2022 All-American Bowl in San Antonio on January 8th. And Chris Saylor, kicking, which is apparently one of the outlets that gets deemed this, rated him the number 12 kicker in the nation. He made a 75-yard field goal in practice in high school one time. Surely there's video of that. But he's going to be a walk-on. Now, I don't bring this up specifically to just talk about, well, like, this kicker has done this, and this is how great it's going to be, and the kicking game is going to be through the roof. It's awesome. It's perfect, and blah, blah, blah. No. I'm not going to do that. However, I do want to bring up something interesting to me about kicking and about the kicking game for Arkansas overall. You know, Razorback fans have been spoiled with kickers, as weird as that is to say. You had a stretch, essentially, from about 2017 to 2023, where you had great kicking. You had Connor Limpert, who was as accurate as it comes. Unfortunately for him, he just played on terrible teams, but a great kicker. And then you had Cam Little. He's in the NFL now. And also mixed into that was Jake Bates, who's also in the NFL, killing it for the Detroit Lions. And he was just your kickoff guy because you had Cam Little. You had phenomenal kickers over the past, what was that, 7 years, 8 years? And even this past year, like, Shipley was not bad. Shipley actually did a pretty good job kicking. I think he ended up going 10 of 12. Now, Ramsey struggled. I don't know why he got the start over Shipley, because then Ramsey got hurt. It's another discussion for another day. But you did pretty good with the kicking game even this past year. You had Zach Hawker recently, too. The point is that as a Razorback football team, of all your struggles, of all the things that you bring up, you've actually done a pretty good job with the kicker. But unfortunately for Arkansas, a lot of the games that they've been so close in, ones that a field goal could have made the difference, there hasn't been a lot of those opportunities for Arkansas to win those games because of field goal kicking. Now, sure, it could have changed momentum here or there. But really, the only time that stands out was that 2022 Texas A&M game, where if Cam Little hits the kick, it's over. Arkansas wins, but it bounced off the top of the upright. That was really the only time that at least comes to my mind immediately of when the kicking was crucial to the success or lack thereof in a game. But at some point in time, like you got to rely, you got to put yourself in a position to where you're going to have to rely on a good kicker late in games. And as crazy as it is, Arkansas has had a very great history of kickers, even. You got a good special teams unit overall. I think punting's great. Devin Bale's awesome. Like, that guy was great. And it doesn't give as much love and appreciation, maybe, as the offense and defense. And I get that. I think everybody does. But I just want to see what this all looks like and what it all pans out to be and how this kicking game actually looks when the game's on the line and how it can be helpful in that. I want to see Arkansas be in those positions for once this football season. I don't know if they will be. And who knows, maybe it'll go badly. Maybe when Arkansas actually does get in those positions, it won't go very well and it won't go according to plan. That's very well could be the case. But I like where they're at. I like the fact that they continue to, get kickers and add guys in there and figure that out. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the kickers of Arkansas because for some reason, I got into a discussion with this with somebody the other day. For some reason, they just constantly feel like the kicking game has been awful at Arkansas. And it hasn't been. It really has not been that bad, folks. Just got to, be a little bit more consistent. That's it. Just be a little bit more consistent. All right, we're going to talk a little Dave Van Horn and Razorback baseball. That's right. I know everyone's pumped for that. He had a great quote and a great clip from his press conference yesterday. We'll get to that, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, this message is brought to you by Prize Picks, the place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings, Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all the football action. Now it's playoff time. There's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks. So here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players. And if your pick hits, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right, up to 1,000 times your money just by making a few simple picks. For me, I'm all about the hot takes this season. This week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson for more than 250 yards and Travis Kelce for more than 70 yards. And it's fun and pretty easy to predict and to play it. Plus, with Prize Picks Flex Play, you can still double your money, even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And with the app, you get all your winnings fast, sometimes in as little as 15 minutes. Ready to run your game this football season? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 just for playing. Don't wait. Take your game to the next level with Prize Picks. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I've already had people talking about, baseball season, and it is going to be Razorback baseball season. It's less than a month away. How exciting is that? February 14th, Valentine's Day, will actually be the very first game for the Razorbacks. They're taking on Washington State, which will be pretty cool. And, they'll be at the College World Series, not the College World Series, the College Baseball Series in Arlington for the Kubota whatevers. So, yeah, we'll have that too. It'll be pretty exciting to talk about and to have it. But Dave Van Horn met with the media yesterday, and there's a few updates here and there. I know not everybody's in baseball mode. But he had a really great quote that kind of stood out to me, and maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but just take a listen to this Dave Van Horn clip when he's talking about his team, their mentality, and them as coaches alongside with it too.
Well, I think the competition just continues to get better, and we get closer to the season, and guys just really want to get on the mound. I just see them pushing each other. But at the same time, I see a lot of camaraderie. Guys are pulling for each other. Like I said, this team's more verbal. It was fun watching their strength and conditioning workouts, especially towards the end of, the semester when there was some competition, and we really started putting the position players and the pitchers together, working out, because a lot of times they're separated, and it separates your team. then you got to try to get it together when you get here in January. We tried to work on that the second half of fall, and I think it really helped us. I think it advanced us a little bit. You see all that's going on all over the country. You got teams that are super talented in other sports. It's semi-professional now, call it what it is. And so I feel like our job as coaches is to find a way to develop these guys, physically, but mentally, we've got to find a way to get them to bond and care about each other and care about the University of Arkansas and the fans and not just in and out of here. And, I don't feel that way with this team. As far as I feel this team they're on a mission. I mean, there's been some things go down the last couple of years at the end of the season that have been hard to swallow. And honestly, behind closed doors, the coaches, we knew that we maybe weren't quite as good as we were ranked or whatever, but we were just finding ways to win, and credit to the players for that. This team wants to make sure that we get to the end.
Wow. Well, wow. Can you believe it? Can you believe that a coach would acknowledge about the problems that could have gone on and acknowledge the importance of making sure the players bought in and the players love it and the players love being here and the players want to be a Razorback and they care about the fans and not just want to move on? Can you believe that? Wow. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I am. Dave Van Horn, this is why I love Dave Van Horn. Dave Van Horn knows how to read the room. Dave Van Horn is a Razorback. Dave Van Horn loves Arkansas and loves the fans and loves the culture and everything. He's the one that's kind of made it through the whole thing. Through thick and thin, he's made it through the whole thing. And him coming out and saying that shows that he understands the fans right now are in a pretty toxic and awkward situation. Very much so. Him saying, hey, they got to care about the fans. We got to connect with them. They like all those things. That is exactly what Razorback fans need. And that's how you build a good culture. That's how you build a good connection. And that's how you build something that people can be excited about, that can be prideful of, and that can actually connect with. Leave it to Dave Van Horn to frickin' know all about it. Leave it to him to actually say what other people in power should come out and say and should acknowledge. Who knows, maybe that was Dave's way of putting it to him and be like, well, you're not going to say it because you don't have the grapes to do it, but I do. That's why Dave Van Horn's the best, man. I love Dave Van Horn. I can't wait for Razorback baseball season. It's going to be so fun. And it's going to be here before we know it. So appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.